Jake and Marcus are 30 years old, live in the same city, and earn identical salaries of $75,000 a year. Despite these matching starting conditions, they operate on different financial philosophies. Jake adheres to the strictest traditional rules. Last weekend, he spent 3 hours scrubbing and waxing his car in the driveway to avoid a $15 fee. On Tuesday, he spent 20 minutes messaging a friend to secure a $12 reimbursement for a lunch order. Marcus chooses a different set of trade-offs. He pays $40 for a house cleaner twice a month, prioritizing preserved time over the cash. Last year, when a friend faced a crisis, Marcus provided $200 and mentally wrote off the debt the moment the money left his hands. Standard financial advice often praises Jake for his discipline, while viewing Marcus's choices as reckless leaks in a budget. One is framed as a master of his domain, the other as a victim of convenience. However, rigid adherence to these micro-rules often backfires. Jake is building a system that requires constant high-stress management, effectively creating a full-time job out of monitoring pennies. Obsessing over $5 and $10 purchases provides a sense of control, but it frequently consumes the mental energy needed for high-leverage moves. While Jake monitors his coffee spending, he lacks the bandwidth to address the macro decisions that actually dictate long-term wealth. For those who lean towards Jake's approach, these habits are a logical survival protocol rather than a personal failing. Economic trauma, like witnessing a housing market collapse or a parent's lost pension, wires the brain for a scarcity mindset. In this state, the brain equates ruthless frugality with physical safety, viewing every saved dollar as a shield against a systemic failure. This leads to performative suffering, the act of spending extreme amounts of time and energy to save negligible amounts of money. It stems from a belief that if you aren't struggling, you aren't being responsible. The biological instinct that prevents you from going broke is frequently the same mechanism that keeps you from becoming rich. It prioritizes defense so heavily that it ignores the possibility of strategic growth. Decision-making capacity is a finite daily battery. Jake spends hours scrubbing his car, exhausting his mental reserve to save $40. He's drained before real work begins. Marcus pays for convenience, arriving at high-level tasks fully charged. He treats energy as his primary asset. Marcus uses that preserved energy to avoid burnout and maintain his performance at work. He remains in a state where he can recognize and act on opportunities that Jake is too depleted to even notice. Spending on convenience is a strategic move when it results in higher quality decisions elsewhere. When calculated against the value of time and energy, the expensive choice often yields the higher total return. Debt collection introduces friction. By hounding friends for small repayments, Jake builds a reputation for being difficult, prioritizing short-term ledgers over long-term social capital. Marcus treats small loans as gifts to build reliable trust. This removes the strings that typically create resentment, ensuring his social circle remains a source of support rather than a source of stress. These choices compound over time. Research shows that financial security improves cognitive function, allowing for better negotiation. Marcus, unburdened by micro-stresses, eventually approaches a salary review from a position of strength and clarity that Jake cannot replicate. Opportunities frequently flow through trusted connections. That $200 gift can reappear years later as a professional recommendation or a partnership. A network built on generosity provides a tangible advantage that simple cash savings can't match. Because the most valuable opportunities are brought by people, a reputation for generosity and reliability yields a compounding return. The math of wealth building extends far beyond a personal bank statement. Of course, spending on convenience only works if that saved time is used intentionally. Funding poor habits or avoiding work entirely leads to financial ruin, regardless of your philosophy. Frugality becomes performative suffering when it lacks a time calculation. Building wealth requires a balance of protecting your resources and strategically investing your energy where it can actually grow. Many people prioritize public performance, accumulating debt to look rich while their actual autonomy shrinks. This creates a golden cage where their lifestyle requirements force them to accept toxic conditions just to maintain the appearance of success. The ultimate asset is the power to walk away. Real wealth is having a low enough expense floor and enough liquidity to reject bad deals or walk away from a draining job without fear. True wealth involves invisible habits, fiercely protected energy, and reliable relationships. It is the ability to control your time, rather than being controlled by a schedule of micro-decisions. To understand the psychology behind the numbers that actually build wealth, subscribe to Wealth Psych. We explore the hidden logic of the financial decisions that shape your life. See you in the next video.